Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast. This is the Tesla energy community covering solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. I'm Aaron Brady. Today, let's talk about Tesla solar on raised seam metal roofs. Let's talk about utility and municipal inspection on the last day of install. Let's talk about using solar systems without permission to operate from the utility. And let's talk about who I blame for this protracted delay getting permission to operate. Let's do it. And we are back, starting the podcast with community input. Don't forget, there are several ways to join the conversation. You can leave a comment in this video, or you can contact 203-816-5150. You can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Now, our first question comes from a repeat caller. Marty Edwards has been working on getting solar for his raised seam metal roof, and he writes, quote, I never got the specs on the solar array mounting hardware for our standing seam metal roof. It's very late in the installer date. Email them today, but no answer as expected, end quote. Now, I think one thing's come clear. Tesla's not great at communication, and it's not equipped to handle customization or unusual installs. So it makes me wonder if they've ever done this before. I mean, searching the Google brain, the first result is from an article from westernstatemetalroofing.com addressing, of all things, the solar roof. Now, in this blog post, they note that standing seam metal roofs are very good for solar panels. So let's bring it full screen and scroll down to where they talk about our solar panels. Here, quote, our solar panels are very competitive with our panels are very compatible with solar panels. They're talking about their metal panels are very compatible with solar panels, especially standing seam. These roofing panels don't require any holes to be made in the roof to secure the solar panels when used with S5 solar roofing attachments, end quote. Now, we can get a closer look at what those attachments look like here. They provide a link in their article, and it seems like it's a proprietary product for them. So if we click on that, it'll take us into S5 metal attachments. You can see, a good picture of it here. This is the standing seam, and you can see that it just pinches that standing seam and puts a bolt through it to secure the solar panels. Now, of course, the best part of this system is that the roof doesn't need to be penetrated to mount the panels. I mean, they even include series connections between the panels if you use their mounting configuration. So let's go into it. So that you don't need additional wires and lugs. So they show that here in this diagram. There are wires and lugs required to connect these four panels, but if you use the S5 PVKit, you don't need them. And that's what this is showing. And what I was really hoping, though, to find, I mean, all that's great information, but I wanted Tesla directly addressing metal roofs so that we can know that this has been done by them and it has a defined process. So if we head over to tesla.com, we can see here the energy products page. Yeah, Tesla support. Let me take it full screen. It covers the types of roofs that can accommodate solar panels. Now, you'll find it under the following headings. So I'm going to click on solar panels, then going solar, sizing and design, and then roof eligibility. Now, let's read what it's got to say. Quote, knowing your roof type will help our team know which of our solar products, solar panels or solar roof, makes sense for your home. If you prefer Tesla solar panels, your roof type will also help us determine which of our low-profile mounting systems to use. So if your roofing material falls under one of the qualified types below, we will have the appropriate mounting system to proceed with your solar panels project, end quote. Now, if we scroll down, we can see that they call out standing seam metal roofs directly, which is great. You can see that right here. Now let's read it. Quote, metal standing seam can be flat or corrugated. To ensure the safety of our crews, we require a minimum 24 gauge thickness to accommodate safety anchors, end quote. So this is perfectly possible, right? They can do standing seam metal roofs. It's clearly been planned for, and there should be a process in place. So Marty, I mean, it seems like you've placed your order with Tesla and that you're looking for detail on the install hardware ahead of your scheduled install date. Do I have that right? I mean, I could say for us, when we received our order confirmation and contract, we also got a design sheet with component detail on it. So let's pull that up. Here, if I take it full screen, you can see that we got detail on both, the layout and the hardware that's to be used on our project. So if we scroll a little bit further down, here's the layout. Of course, the brick portions of it, the black bricks show where active tiles are, and then the gray portions are the non-solar tiles, just the glass. But not only did it include a layout, but it also included detail on the mounting hardware, the supporting power electronics, and it even included a timeline for the project. So here's that's an exploded view. That's not really all the components. This is the timeline. So you can see we are just in the design phase when this document's sent over to us. I hate that it always highlights something. But even further down, we can see the detailed bits. This is the foot lap where they're going to be securing the panels. This is the foot with support that goes even further down. And all of this gave me really great detail. So we got, additional detail on the power wall and on the inverter. But, I would assert, that you should have all this stuff. So maybe you haven't placed your order. And if you haven't placed your order, I'd say go for it. I mean, the $100 is refundable anyway. And I expect you'll start getting answers to your questions with documentation. I mean, definitely a lot more quickly than if you're trying to front run them by emailing or calling them on the phone. But let's go to the solar page on Tesla.com and just walk through this and just get an idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm going to bring the Tesla homepage full screen. I'm going to click on solar panels. I mean, you already get a pretty helpful set of info on the website, and that's really what I wanted to show you as we step through it. So we went to solar panels, and we're going to place our order by clicking Order Now. We'll put in a phantom address. I'm just going to pick just some random thing here. And we'll put in an estimated monthly bill. Again, it doesn't really matter that much. I just want to show what additional information is going to be shown on the page. Now, something that is super interesting here is that we have the option to remove our power walls. Check this out right here. That wasn't supposed to be possible after the architecture change and the price hikes back in April. No idea, right? What's up with that? But I also want to bring your attention to the other links that are on the page. If I go ahead and full screen it again, we can zoom in. The other links that we can explore are, other energy generation options. You can explore the power wall. So other energy generation options would be like solar roof, for example, right up here, solar roof or solar panels. Learn more about the power wall. And most helpfully, there's a slide deck that outlines next steps. So let's click on that down here, view next steps. You'll see that they include lots of caveats in this process. So if we progress, third-party approval, things that could take longer. Installation, things that could take longer. Inspection, things that could take longer. All of that went really smoothly for me. Of course, utility approval. Things that could take longer. You haven't submitted or signed some documents, or they're wrong. Things like that. Very helpful, certainly on a superficial level. But something else that's interesting is to go down and explore facts or FAQs. Now, if we click on that and we search standing seam metal roof, we can see that the very last result is sizing and design, that same page that I had referenced above. If we link there, you can see roof eligibility and the standing seam. Metal roof is listed right there. Now, all in all, I would say that the resources they make available are pretty good, but they're also, pretty superficial. It's just hard to get into much more detail until the design work's done, right? So I would say place that refundable order if you haven't already, but also let's call in the community. Has anyone watching this gotten Tesla Solar on standing seam metal roofs? I know you can share your layout. Maybe you can share your installation detail. That way we can help Marty get some answers on this. And thanks in advance for your help, right? Next up, we have a comment from Abraham Northampton in Virginia with a humble brag on his Tesla installation. Quote, wow, 24 weeks and counting. That's incredible. Now, here in Virginia, my 9.06 kilowatt system with 2 power walls was inspected by Dominion Power on the last day of the install. I had PTO in hand 2 weeks later, end quote. Abraham, what can I say? That's awesome. And I'm jealous. Your Tesla install team deserves a firm handshake for being so efficient. Though, let's be honest, right? They wouldn't be able to do it without the cooperation of both the local inspectors and the utility. It is hard for us to remember that this is a team sport and that coordination amongst the local government and the local utility, as well as your Tesla team, it's all required to make the experience great. So Tesla can't do it on their own. Just don't forget that. Still, straight up, this has to be the most efficient install story I've heard. That had to make your project, I don't know, like a month from beginning to end. At least from start of work to PTO. I should have that about right. Yeah, 4 weeks maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was even faster than that. So I don't know. I still expect the average time from start of work to PTO for most customers is going to be about 2 months. I don't know. I would love it if my own project wasn't such an outlier. Anyway, congratulations on your new Tesla solar system. Send us some photos. We'd love to check it out. Next up, we have a comment from John Burke. Let me pull it up. John reacts to our extended wait for PTO from the utility. He says, quote, wow. That is crazy. Do you blame the power company, Tesla, or both? And can you take advantage of the solar power generated while off grid, or is all the power going to waste until PTO? I'm new to all this and trying to play catch up. I have 3 Tesla trucks in front of my house right now and about a dozen or so workers installing my roof today in New York State. Thanks. Now, first of all, John, super exciting that your project is already underway. That's crazy. So is your project solar panels, solar roof? Are you getting power walls with your installation? Let us know. Send a video of your installation so we can all take a look and experience this stuff vicariously through you. But let's also go through your questions, right? Let's do it in reverse order. So first you ask, can you take advantage of the solar while off grid? My answer, mostly yes. I can use the solar I'm generating as I use it. I can save the solar energy in my batteries and use the energy later. I can send it back to the grid for free and let others use it when my batteries are too full to store any more energy. Of course, the kicker there is that I don't get net metering benefits until I get PTO. Now, your other question, do you blame the power company, Tesla, or both? The answer is that I blame myself. Now, I didn't know what I was doing, so we can blame Tesla if we're going to be brutal, but it's the whole reason for doing this podcast. I was flying blind and dumb, and I changed my order after all of the permits were pulled and the utility application was submitted. Huge mistake. If I'd known better, I would have placed my order with 2 power walls to begin with, but I didn't have the benefit of education to know that. So when it came time to do the witness test with the utility, the paperwork didn't match the installation, and crucially, the total rated output capacity of our solar system just inched over the 20 kilowatt threshold set by our nearly 20-year-old generator statutes set here in Connecticut. So double whammy. If I had just not messed with Sasquatch, everything would have been fine. If I had placed my order correctly in the first place, again, everything would have been fine. So ultimately, I'm the one to blame. Now, at the moment, action is with Tesla to remedy, and so I guess that means that the extended wait is their fault. But as you know, it's more nuanced than that. So we have to look at this and be honest about who's responsible for what. So I just want to be the cautionary tale to everybody else that you shouldn't change your order after all of the permits and the utility applications are applied. That's really what made everything so bad for me. So thank you, John, Abraham, Marty, for all of your input, all of your questions. For others of you that want to get involved, you can comment below. You can call 203-816-5150, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Right now, let's take a break and let's catch up on some news. We'll be right back. So, first up, CNBC posits a provocative headline. Let's read it. Why Tesla's solar business has not yet taken off as Elon Musk promised. End quote. Now, the video piece is 22 minutes, so this isn't just an article. They made a whole video about it. But what I want to do is play the conclusion for you, and then we will come back and we will discuss. Let's take a look.
While it has been installing more solar roofs, the recent price increases make it too costly for most customers.
You could have always ordered a solar roof from somebody and paid an arm and a leg to have it installed on your home in an utterly uneconomic decision. Until there's verifiable proof that these roofs are economically sensible, then no, the problem is not solved.
I do think that the Tesla solar roof is definitely going to stay in the market. I think it has a strong foothold. There's a little bit of a bad taste maybe in people's minds with some of the things they're hearing. But I think they're only getting better, and I think that it'll only get more price competitive.
While these problems are not unique to Tesla, the company will need to address their installation quality and customer service issues.
If they want to matter in solar like they have in automotive, they've got to make it universally a happier experience for customers.
You're spending tens of thousands of dollars. It should almost be a concierge service of follow-up to ensure that everything has gone well throughout the whole system.
But despite the issues, many are still rooting for Tesla.
The vision of Tesla, which is essentially sustainable energy and a sustainable future. There's just so much freedom in literally having solar, whether you get Tesla or any other solar system.
I would like to see this company successful. I would like to see solar widespread and successful. Because if everybody has an experience like me and they tell 20 people, it will crush this industry when it's very important that it is successful.
I have the link below so you can watch the full video. It's worth a watch. Now, this video is hitting a couple things really hard. First, they're hitting the price increases hard. And second, they're hitting customer service hard. They also have a nice dig at the end where Tesla doesn't respond to their comment or their request for comment, but joke's on them, Tesla never responds to any of us. and both of these points are freaking lazy. They're lazy reporting. Now, the first point, price increases. Yes, the price increase sucked. See episodes 2 and 3, but the price is not the core reason the product hasn't yet been viewed as a success. Way back in the day, the Tesla Roadsters were pricey, but they still are regarded widely as successful, even if they weren't universally seen as successful at the time of their release. Now, price, of course, is a function of material cost and labor efficiency. I would assert that these are more important to the long-term success of any product and ultimately drive prices down for wider adoption. So, fail on the first point. Second point, customer service. Yes, Tesla's communication skills suck. See just about every episode of this podcast, including this one. But Tesla's customer service has sucked since the very beginning of the company. We can also come up with lots of other successful companies with successful products that have deplorable customer service. Cable companies come to mind immediately. Has blowing chunks all over their customers kept cable companies from being successful? Right? Has Tesla ignoring its customers kept it from succeeding? No, on both accounts. So I'm not saying it's okay. Let's make that clear. It's not okay to have terrible customer service. It does not, however, prevent the success of a product. So let's go back to this headline. Why Tesla Solar hasn't worked out the way Elon Musk promised. It begs the question, what did he promise? Now, a couple of specific promises come to mind. The first, 1,000 solar roofs a week were promised at the beginning of 2020. And this will be the year of the Tesla Solar Roof, mark my words, was promised at the 2019 Q1 conference call, investor conference call. So let me present my answer to why it hasn't turned out the way he promised. Tesla cannot scale solar. That's why it hasn't turned out the way he promised. Now, to be clear, their problem is not mass production. They can mass produce stuff. Their problem is scalable installation. And there's strong evidence that Tesla's solving this. They're taking two approaches. They're partnering with third-party installers. It's a start, but it's not enough. They're partnering with new home builders. This is better, but surprise, still not enough. Now, while these will allow them to scale production and leave installation to other companies, there's still a huge problem. Solar requires batteries. There aren't enough batteries. Ergo, Tesla will not be able to make solar a success until the battery supply problem is solved. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why solar has not yet turned out the way Elon promised. Even if every single person on the planet were recruited to install solar, it couldn't happen. We need batteries to buffer that power and stabilize the grid. And until that's solved, solar can never be the success Elon's promised it will be. But we'll get there. Next up, we've got a publication called The City, and they report on the imminent collapse of community solar projects in New York City. Let's take a look. It's a nice photo. And you might notice, before we get into the quote, you might notice those are the Circle Line buses, the tours. I mean, if you've ever been to New York City, I spend a lot of time in New York City, and those are the tourist buses that will take you and just drive you around the city. Generally they don't have roofs, so you get a good view of all the buildings, but of course some of it's covered, like this plastic one here. But it's this kind of facility that has the solar installation. So these solar panels are on their warehouse. They're not on individuals' houses. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but let's get down to the quote. So here, quote, tens of millions of dollars in incentives from the state that help make city-friendly community solar developments economically feasible are about a month away from sunsetting for new projects. And that's threatening clean energy products on tap for the city, along with the local jobs and energy savings that come with them. Solar industry reps say, end quote. Now, you might remember us covering this a couple episodes ago. These community solar projects are urban developments where residents aren't able to choose solar for themselves by putting panels on their own house. These programs are seen as a way for low-income and underprivileged citizens to tap into the benefits of renewable energy at an individual level. Generally these are like renters that don't own the property that they live in, so they can't make the decision to put solar onto their building. And even if they were to band together, it's the development owner, it's the building owner that has the right to make the decision whether or not to put solar on their building. It's not the occupants. So this, I don't know, it's an interesting approach. It's an interesting way to, to approach solar for residents that don't have access to it in that way. But, I got to be brutal here. I just don't see how it's helpful. Government incentives honestly generally only serve to distort the market rather than allow the market to show where solar provides the real value. If the owners saw the value, they would put the solar on their roofs. They're just looking at dollars and cents. They're not trying to make any kind of, altruistic decision. They're just trying to make the right dollars and cents decision for their development. But the article goes on near the end. Let me pull that up really quickly. Scroll all the way down. It's a pretty long article, worth checking out for sure. Industry experts. Right. Industry experts and Con Ed have warned that the scarcity of space limits New York City's overall capacity for solar, with or without state subsidies, end quote. And a little further up in the article, they outline one more disheartening result of market distortions. I just want to, right here. Oh, so painful. Part of why the credit is nearly spent is because nearly 170 megawatts worth went to gas-powered fuel cell projects, such as a 12 megawatt project by Daroga Power that encompasses 48 fuel cells around New York City. That sucks. Oh, not awesome. What they've done is they've put basically mini peaker plants that burn gas in the middle of the city to provide electricity. They're just large gas generators. And they've been tapping into this funding that's been set aside for community solar projects. What a freaking mess. So, I don't know. I would say it's probably better to leave incentives out of this part of the solar market. Where I would say the incentives would be better spent, even in the city, say it with me, batteries. We still, have a problem with supply of batteries. So maybe we shouldn't incentivize people to buy batteries. Maybe, buying solar and buying batteries is a sector where we just don't need incentives, right? Shift the incentives to battery suppliers so we can catch up to where solar and wind, for that matter, have already gotten to. This is going to be my new refrain, incentivize battery production. You'll hear me singing the song over and over again, many years to come. All right, next up, rant over, right? Mostly. All right, so this next one comes from KTVZ. They profiled the first Tesla solar roof in Bend, Oregon. This is also a video bit, so let's take a look.
New kind of solar panel could soon be on your roof. Noah Chast joins us now. Noah, what's different about this one?
Yeah, well, Lee, a couple things. First of all, it's designed by Tesla, the electric car company, among other things. And secondly, it's designed to look like a normal roof. The cost is certainly not the same as a normal roof, but one homeowner in Bend tells me it's worth it.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the product is that you can't tell it's solar.
Jake Hermling is the first Central Oregon homeowner to have a Tesla solar roof built on a house. The roof has solar tiles meant to look like shingles instead of the typical panels.
Most people come by, they have no idea.
The roof was installed by Greenlee Roofing, a Bend-based company who received clearance from Tesla last January. A few other companies have clearance throughout the state, but Director of Sales Hobie Smith says,
"We're the first and only in Central Oregon."
Smith says a roof like Hermeling's would cost roughly $18,000 to $20,000 for normal architectural shingles. The solar roof is close to $25,000 to $30,000 more. Hermeling says having a net positive house with the opportunity for a tax rebate is worth the upfront cost.
As I was factoring it into my build cost, it was kind of it was not a difficult decision to make on the financial side.
Everything that he would be spending per month, whether it be $150, $200 per month, he's gaining back.
However, not every tile on the roof is solar.
Most of the roof you're seeing that collects energy from the sun is the actual tile, but the areas that are in the shade, like this little corner right here, is dummy tile.
Smith says the dummy tiles have the same glass structure, but without the solar technology, to avoid wasting money and resources in areas that wouldn't produce enough energy.
Tesla has an app that shows what the roof is producing in real time.
Okay.
And then it shows what the house is consuming and then how much is going to the grid.
Hermeling says it's the amount of sun his house does get that makes him confident he's in the right place to go solar.
Yeah, I think one of the unique things that Central Oregon has in regards to solar in the state of Oregon in general is 300 days of sun, right? That's usually the biggest factor you need with solar panels.
And Smith tells me since January, interest in the Tesla solar roof has increased. He believes as solar becomes more popular, the initial cost will start to go down. Lee?
You can literally see the teleprompter is reading on the multi-viewer behind him. You don't know how happy that makes me. Proud papa right here. Now, did you catch the other very important detail? He put his roof on a new build. He did not retrofit the roof to an existing house. Now, I'm telling you that this is going to be where Tesla is able to scale. New builds with third-party installers. Now, this was basically, and might have actually been, an advertisement on that channel. Now, Tesla doesn't pay for advertising, not officially anyway, but this is a very effective way to run that "I want my solar roof" campaign that Elon mentioned in the annual shareholder meeting. And it might have been something that was paid for by Greenlee Contracting, by the way, and not by Tesla. So I've already covered a couple of these types of infomercials, but let's keep an eye out for more of these and see if this becomes a thing. It's not just for Tesla, of course. These are business building exercises for those third-party installers. They're going to be able to build a very good business off the cachet that the Tesla brand brings to their customer or their potential customer base. All right, so let's bring up the next one. This one is Georgia Tech. They have published the results of a study they've conducted of homeowners' electricity usage after they install solar. So let's take a little read. So, quote, according to a new analysis by researchers at Georgia Tech's Ivan Allen College of Liberal Arts, homeowners who install solar panels wind up using more electricity than before going green, a finding that could have implications for energy planning and climate change mitigation efforts, end quote. Well, this is a surprise to no one. Especially not a surprise to anyone that's shifted their energy use from fossil fuels to electricity in an effort to become greener. Now, I can absolutely see homeowners going solar, then getting an electric car, or more likely a second electric car. It's not that solar is an effort. I'm not saying that right. Putting in solar isn't where you don't put in solar in order to reduce your energy consumption. That's what I'm trying to say. What you're trying to do is shift your energy consumption from an unsustainable source to a sustainable source. And I mean, that's even if you want to go green. That doesn't happen to be my motivation. Mostly I just want to be cool. But also I want energy independence. I want to save money in the long run. Being green, it's cool, but it's not at the top of the list for me. But going back to the bigger picture, shifting energy use from fossil fuels to electricity does significantly reduce your overall energy usage, since electric motors and heaters are orders of magnitude more efficient than combustion motors and heaters are. Batteries aren't as energy dense as fossil fuels. Totally true and totally unfortunate. So electricity isn't always the most practical solution, but electricity is way more efficient and can be produced sustainably and locally. That's the thing that matters to me. So electricity usage is going up, make no mistake. Saying solar is the reason for the increase in electricity usage is dumb. Anyway, solar is part of the electricity energy cycle, and we happen to be increasing our use of electrical energy usage and decreasing our usage of the finite fossil fuel, that we've been using over the last century to build our society. Anyway, ran over. Is that 2 rants in an episode? That's crazy. That's the news for now. Let's take another break, and then we will talk about a conversation I had with a contractor about gutters and our solar roof. Be right back. So we had a contractor over to take a look at putting new gutters on the house. We don't currently have proper drainage off the roof or even around our house. So we've been, getting plants growing and stuff. I've got a quick video of our spot. You can see the plants growing. You know, the water spills over. You get stains on the side of the house. This ends up with water in the basement and a general malaise. We got to get it fixed. So when I met him outside to look at the house, he started in with how the gutters would need to be different since I don't have an asphalt roof. Now, he was asking me what material it was. It didn't look like metal to him, but he had assumed it was probably just like a new type of textured metal roof, and he was shocked to hear that they were solar panels. I don't know, it took a half hour to geek out about it, and he had a ton of questions, but at the end of it, he pointed out that we would need a larger gutter system. So we currently have the 4-inch gutters that are mostly okay, and when the rain gets a little harder though, the water comes off the roof so fast that it shoots over the gutters directly onto the ground. So I've got a video showing the erosion around the side of the house because of the water racing over the gutters. Let me get that going for you. So you can see it under the gutter there. It's just a bunch of dirt. You know, the water is cutting a line in the soil and it's killing all the grass that would have grown there. So obviously this means that the water isn't being channeled away from the house properly, and it's contributing to the water issue that we've got in the basement. Now, it turns out that this isn't the biggest issue. The previous owners buried a downspout under a rock at the top corner of the property rather than running a drain around the perimeter. So all the water coming off the front roof was also draining into our basement. Not awesome. But back to the gutter system. I wanted to show you a video of rain going off the roof into our current gutters, you know, when it was just a light rainfall. You know, this isn't very heavy rain at all. You can see I'm going to get the camera up here to the top of the gutter. Even in this light rain, the water is falling into the middle of the gutter. And this is because the hydrophobic glass tiles are shedding the water quickly, allowing it to gain speed as it runs down the roof. So, to get the gutters to catch the heavy downpour, you can do a couple of things. Number one, you can put up a shield to block the fast runoff. And number two, you can widen the gutters so the water can't overshoot them, even in a heavy rain. We're going to be going with option 2. If you put up barriers, you'll catch debris and you'll have to clean them over time. With the wider gutters, we'll be able to put on a gutter guard, and the system will be able to be mostly maintenance free. Anyway, something that I wanted to share with the community. I thought you'd be interested. And don't forget that you guys can share your tips with the community by commenting below. You can also call 203-816-5150. And you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Now, you can save $500 with my referral code. So they've made a change to the referral program, which I should cover in one of the articles. But if you would like to use my referral code, please do. It is ts.la/Aaron62310, also in the show notes below. That'll wrap episode 28 of the Tesla Power Podcast. Thanks for joining me. I'm your Tesla residential energy community organizer, Aaron Brady. Y'all come back now, you hear?